dancing. So can we welcome Lee Corns?
Thanks, hey everybody. My name's Lee Corns. I'm not pissed, sorry. Sorry, I don't want that. My name's Lee Corns. Just want to get your attention. And I was going to talk about traditional folk dancing, get that fixed. Now, I'm going to muck about, because it's going to be too serious to see folk dancing. It can be very serious, can't it, ladies and gentlemen? But what I do need, though, Tim, is the lovely little spiky thing there. First thing you know, see that bloke there? You look at me, we're not related. And as you can see, traditional folk dancing, in the days, it's been going on for many years, in the days before there was colour, so it's all in black and white, and also they really couldn't afford materials, so the trousers are very short. So that's what's happening in the early days. And obviously it's a bit, she don't want to get her legs damp, so she's pulling the skirt up. And they're doing the usual thing, which is a kind of a version of the do-si-do, which I'm sure you all did when you were wee bairns. Moving on, folk dancing started many years ago, pagan traditions, fertility rites around menhirs or standing stones. And this is a standing stone. Feel that way, it would be a lying stone. But it's that way. So they would dance round it, you see, and welcome the spring or whatever, and shag. Now, moving on, we also have those fertility rites still shown in a lot of the dances today, and there's some guys with some antler horns, rutting, I think they call that. Obviously rutting, although this one's cheating, he's come as a horse, so that's not any good. And so they still go on, and it's been going on many, many years, and still there is a material shortage at this stage because they've got garters and very sort of short gaiters, trousers, or whatever they're called. So we all know it's traditional, it's been going on, and it still goes on now. This is obviously dancing around the maypole. This is that picture before it's coloured in. And that's me. Just there. No, actually, Sally Ann, my little girlfriend, when I was... no, it's not. I've no idea who these children are. I've no idea, but it was obviously taken a very long time ago, because you don't do much of that. Back on Langton actually do maypole dancing, but they actually have been doing this for many thousands of years, and it is to welcome the spring, it is a pagan rite, and so on, a fertility rite. So, you know, there are many dances associated with these festivals. This is a Bruegel painting, which is apparently a festival, a dance, but I think it's a brawl. Looks like it to me. They're having a scrap there by the looks of it. But, you know, so it's been going on many hundred years. And this is a much more civilised one. Of course, it goes across all over the world. This is Valencia. Very unusual, this one. This person's obviously trying to sell some oysters while she's dancing. This one is very unusual. She's carrying a tree while she's dancing. So you don't see much of that anymore. But maybe that's a Valencian traditional dance. Longer, you obviously have more material there, so longer dresses. And, you know, flamenco is a traditional folk dance. And dances are country dances in Scotland, Scottish country dancing, English. They're all kind of different, but mostly the same, borrowing traditions, which actually, as we know, modern folk dancing has been really since the 17th, 18th century when it was revived and split into two factions, one of which was more the posh section of society, the upper classes. They took it on and did all the Bavards and all the very classical sort of country dances put in country houses. But and there's two people doing God knows what. But I don't know which is a blow, which isn't, and I don't know what these are for. I don't even want to ask, really. It's obviously a clutching thing to do with perhaps love-making. Perhaps, who knows, but they look very weird. But they're very happy, even though he's obviously only got one arm. But there we go. So here, and it was then divided into working classes, where a lot of the traditions that we know today of folk dancing actually come from the way the working classes kept their traditions from the 18th centuries. And the music was very special, and the dances were very special. They did things like sword dances. Well, I think they're going to execute this bloke, because they think he's a fox, because obviously these look like fox hunters. So this is a sword dance, and then in Scotland, he's wearing some shorts, and he's dancing around some swords there in the Scottish tradition. So each country has its own version of country dancing. It's not very technical, this, but I don't care. So moving on, there's clog dancing, where, you know, you don't want to do that if you've got bunions, because it's not going to do you much good. And on here, this is where they're combining people who are scared of heights with clog dancing. So they're doing two things at once there. And they use special boards to make a right old racket for when they're clog dancing. It must be very painful. And they're very expensive, by the way. You won't get them around the corner in your shops. Moving on. And Morris dancing, of course, is one of the most familiar kinds of folk dancing, and has been going on. I don't think that's from the Bayeux Tapestry, it's just a load of blokes in loose clothing holding each other. In fact, leading a merry dance is a French term for when people are enjoying themselves and they dance in holding hands, dance in and out of groups of people, and that's called leading a merry dance. And here's some of the old Morris dances we're familiar with the hats and the gaiters with the bells on, which we all are very aware of in Hastings. And the Morris dancing has apparently come from Moorish dance, so it's more of a Spanish Inquisition type thing. It was based from Spain, based in Spain, and then came over here. And the blacking up, which isn't controversial really, even though, you know, I don't know what these guys do. It looks like he's got tight trousers there, but there you go. Is to do with, apparently a lot of the traditions of folk dancing were about chimney sweeps. A lot of chimney sweeps used to do it, so the blacking up is to do with their face. And also down here, there's a lot of charcoal burning, so a lot of the people around here who were involved in that industry had very darkened faces. So that's apparently why they are thus blacked up. And then, then we've got the Molly dance, which is a version of the Morris dance. And then we've got a very fed up looking bloke who's obviously been elected to dress as the Molly. Unless that's his day clothes, might even be the mayor of Norwich, who knows. And they're having a rare old time. And this bloke here, and there's the straw bear dance at Whittlesey, where I've been to, and the guy, they dress someone up in straw bales, and he wanders around going, rah, like that. And I think this guy said, put the lighter out, put the light, don't, it's a bloke with straw, mate, you set fire to it, don't. But, so these are the traditions that go on, and now I've had enough talking, because what we're really here for is to do some dancing. And, ladies and gentlemen, as David Bowie said, let's dance, because if these children can do it, so can you. So I need some volunteers, please. So the people who want to learn a couple of simple steps of folk dancing, step up, because we're going to do some just for the last few minutes, please. Stand up, please. That's certainly Ayaz and Alex, my son and his partner, and just a few people, just to show simple steps. We've got the music, and it's fun, it's fun, it's fun, it's fun. Come on, please. Otherwise, I'm not going to get paid tonight. I'm not going to. Up you go. Come on, no, come forward. Guys, it's really not embarrassing. Come on, put it down. Give me a round of applause. Round of applause. Yes, come on. Yes, if you look up, that means you've got to come up too. Come on, come. Yes. That's now, please. Come on, well done. The teachers, you can tell. Yes, teachers, you. Oh, come on, don't listen miserable. No, come on. Please. We need probably just a dozen people just to show something. Hello, come on. Please, I told you it would work. They're getting there too. Maybe you might have to do this. Please, come on, it's easy. If I can do it, these children can do it, therefore, so can you. 2, 4, 6. We certainly need another 6. At least another 6. Come on. Otherwise, we're going to be alone. Well done. Excellent. Yeah, come on. It's been fun. It's not hard. Come on, please. We need an even number, is what we need to start with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't include me. No, we need another person. Please, come. Yes, well done. Round of applause. Thank you. So what I want you to do is to face each other in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So a row of 5 on each side, please. Doesn't matter man, boy, doesn't matter man, girl, doesn't matter. That's okay. Now the first thing we're going to do is the basic steps, which are going to be seen 4. It's called a galop, G-A-L-O-P, which is a French term, and it is like a gallop. So if you watch me, if you'll turn and face me so the audience can see, the galop is just a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all we do. But if you do that, you're looking very, very boring. Like you've never seen a folk dancer do this. No, you see them hop. So that's the dance. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try it. So I'm going to count you in, and you're going to go. If you come this way, and then you're going to move over to this way, and you're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you're doing. You just hop off the right. So yeah, after 3. 1, 2, 3. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Give them a round of applause. That's a round of applause. Right, so now what we're going to do is do that to the music. So, we turn that on, don't we, Tim? We turn that on. And then we press this. Yeah, and so remember what you're doing. And the album we're going to, the tune we're going to is called music. Because this is where, see, it's not accordions. Thank you. And it's going to be the... where is it? Mona's Delight. Now it's very simple because they're quite slow, so if you just listen to the music, please. Yep, look at that. Now we're going to do this. Yep. Yep, that's not on, is it? Okay.
Everybody's going back.
So there's an intro. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. That's what we're doing.
Got that? Good. Excellent. So.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Again, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and stop. Excellent. That's pretty good. Now, so that's called the galop, and quite often you do that in. Now, what I want you to do is to, if you open up, please. So Tim, you'll take your partner's hand. 2 hands, no, you're not English, mate, no, it's country dancing. And you're going to do it together. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. But you're going to go right to the end, right back, okay? So I shall cue you in. Wait a minute. Here we go. Come on. Wait, wait. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 a 3 and a 4 again. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Stop.
Well done.
Next two. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Slow down. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. Next couple. Just go. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and yeah, next couple there. That's right. Okay, I'll come in, girls. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Okay, yep. And you guys? 1 and a 2 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. Yeah, okay, stop. No, that's my fault, because we're not cueing you in, because it's not quite as simple as it sounds. Wait a minute. I'm still confused with this. Keeps clicking out, I can't stop it. Right, so what we're going to do now is do-si-do. So the do-si-do is again going to 4. So if I could just ask you step outside, I'll go with Alex. So if you just stop it for a second, please. So it's in 4, so it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So it's right shoulder touches right shoulder, and then you travel 4 up, 4 across, and then 4 back. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So just watch me again. So it's very slowly, because it's quite a slow one. They're normally twice this bit. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. That's it. That's called the do-si-do. And I'll do it to speed. Sorry. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. We're on 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4. That's all it is. So basically it's walking shoulder to shoulder, round like that, and you have to come forward, so you cross in the middle, and then you do it again. So then you go left shoulder to left shoulder, and then again, Alex, are you up for this? Can we start that? moan thingy.
In the beginning.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3.
Okay, I'll catch you guys. Go! Cross over, quite close together. Yeah, go again, go again. Keep going. Right, so round of applause. You know it takes time, I'm grabbing stuff. We can do something now, cut straight, because we're probably running for time, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which is called Strip the Willow, which is one of the main kind of things you have to do in photographs. You end up in, I'm going to not use this anymore, end up doing that in any folk dance anywhere around the country. And, no, it's not it's So Strip the Willow is, I'm now you, sir. Now, what's called the top couple, which is facing the speaker, the caller, come into the middle, right arm in, around, left arm out. You go left arm to Alex. No, you. No, we you go that side, I go that side. So again, and that's it. So it's right arm in, then you take Alex's left arm, I take your left arm. And then we meet again. No, you go back. You go. You're done. We come back. Then you go to the next left arm. Then left arm out. Then right arm in. Then left arm out. Right arm threading something. Yeah. And then. No. You stay. You just stay. Then this will be the left. Yeah, and then well, this is you stop now, and then the next top couple will do it. So it's normally you do what's called a cast and arch. You go around and do an arch, but it's not time. So you thread through. So once again, Tim, please very quickly. I'm surprised. I thought most people do. It's so full of country dancing in this area. In fact, this music is made by the Catskill Sea. It's a very popular group in this area. So you go right arm in, and then left arm out. Right arm in, left arm out, and then the left. And then we do it together, and that's right arm in. No, you just stay there. Left arm out. Right arm in, left arm out. Right, so. We can set the music, and we're just going to do it. Tim and I are going to do it all the way up, and then as soon as we've kind of got to here, next couple start. But do remember you have to keep shoving down while they're done and go. Okay? So do it slowly. It's I will tell you which one, and it is
We're all going to do this, by the way.
It's called Fanny Power. That's actually what it's called. Fanny Power. Yeah. Doesn't matter. That's it. with the music, or are we all right? You done? Yeah. All goes on to it. Thank you for your indulgence. Thank you very much.
Can we thank Lee Corns once again just for that fabulous... Next month we're doing breakdancing, okay? So